Well, the trade period content has finally come around the corner, and before the trade rumours get discussed, we'll quickly go through the 7 trades that have already been made in the first day and a half. So starting off with the first deal via free agency, and we saw James Jordan head to Sydney in exchange for pick 39. Matt Flynn was the next deal to be done as he went off to West Coast in exchange for pick 40 to the Giants. Joel Hamling then went off to Sydney from Freo as an unrestricted free agent. Tom Doedee went off to the Lions in exchange for pick 19 to the Adelaide Crows. The last deal of day one was, of course, Todd Goldstein heading off to the Bombers for a 1-year contract from the Roos. And another Roo joining the Bombers was Ben Mackay. However, this was a pretty big deal. He signed a 6-year contract, and in exchange, well, the AFL pretty much handed North Melbourne pick 3 as per compensation. And the most recent deal to be done, as of filming this right now, was James Harmes heading off from the D's to the Dogs in exchange for a 3rd rounder. Now let's get straight into some of these trade rumours ahead of this trade period. We've got over 30 to discuss. And we'll start off with Jade Gresham. He's officially informed St Kilda that he'll be leaving the club, with Essendon being the club of choice as a restricted free agent. With St Kilda possibly receiving first-round compensation, it could help them facilitate the Liam Henry deal. Shane McAdam has officially requested a trade to the Demons, in which the Crows are very much hoping for a mature player in return. McAdam will help facilitate Melbourne's forward half issues. However, the Crows are asking for a bit of a high price in Harrison Petty, a player that Melbourne are very reluctant to get rid of him. Suns forward Chris Burgess has asked for a trade back home to Adelaide after a lack of senior opportunities at the Suns for just 3 games in 2 years, despite being the VFL's leading goal kicker in the last 2 seasons. He would be a helpful addition for Adelaide's forward depth if he does end up getting traded. Massimo D'Ambrosio has requested a trade to the Hawks, as it is understood there is a longer deal on offer as opposed to the 1-year contract with the Bombers. After the Hawks couldn't snag Liam Henry, Hawthorn believe that acquiring D'Ambrosio is a need. Now, after falling out of favour and for most of 2023 at the Blues, Zach Fisher has requested a trade to North Melbourne despite having 2 years left on his contract. Given that he is in need of a new opportunity and that the Blues aren't as reluctant to trade him, he does look quite likely to be traded out. After having strong links with the Saints for quite some time, it seems that Dylan Shield is staying at the Bombers, with Aiden Dradore coming out and saying that the midfielder isn't going anywhere and that he's a required player at the Bombers. Additionally, given that Shield has recently undergone knee surgery, it practically eliminated St Kilda's interest, making this trade very unlikely to occur now. Now, one of the more recent bombshell trade news sees Pi Taylor Adams, who's in the leadership group, requesting a trade to Sydney in hopes to get on a longer contract as well as getting more midfield minutes. It seems as though the Swans are interested in bolstering their midfield stocks and could sign a 3-year deal with the Swans. Whilst the Pies value Adams as a required player, Collingwood will still facilitate the trade if needed, which seems kind of likely of happening at this time. It has been confirmed that Liam Henry has selected St Kilda as the club of his choice, with a deal looking like it is all but confirmed. However, the trade worth of the pick 9 has left to be debated, particularly considering his strong finish to the season in 2023. After becoming a bit of a fringe player at the Dogs, it is expected that Hayden Crozier will be delisted at the end of the season and could possibly be heading to club number 3. It is apparent that the Blues have shown a little bit of interest, possibly as a delisted free agent, which would allow the Blues to grab him for next to nothing. Now, another recent shock trade, almost a bigger one, has seen small forward Lockie Shorts request a trade back home to Collingwood to only further their small forward stocks. If it does eventuate, it would be a huge loss for Fremantle, given he ranked number 1 for them in terms of scoreboard impact in 2023. It seems as if Port Adelaide have an interest in Ivan Soldo if he wants to leave Tigerland. Whilst already having the desire to strengthen the defensive stocks, they also have made it clear that they do want to bolster their ruck stocks. With Soldo wishing to be that number 1 ruck, and with the power and search of that genuine number 1 ruck, this move could possibly be on the cards. The Giants have fairly strong interest in Elliot Himmelberg to reunite with his brother over at the Giants as part of a positional need. However, given that Himmelberg is contracted and given that the Crows will not be getting Shaun this trade period, this deal seems now quite unlikely to occur. For the 2nd year in a row, the Power are heavily linked to acquire Esava Radaglia from the Cats after failing to facilitate a deal last year. A deal seems very likely this time round, with Esava really wanting to leave and with the Power wanting him to come home, particularly given their weak defensive stocks. Mabai Chol has officially chosen the Hawks as his club of choice after falling out of favour at the Suns and wanting a trade out to get more game time. With Kaczynski on his way out, this seems like a very handy replacement player, a better player, with this deal being pretty much a certainty of getting done. Out of contract Swan, Dylan Stephens is currently seeking a potential move out of the club, which could see him head to North Melbourne. The former number 5 pick has requested a move over and seems as it could possibly be one of the earlier trades to occur during this trade period. Fringe dog Jordan Sweet is opting for a move interstate to Port Adelaide after being unable to play any games this season in the AFL. Despite the Dogs being keen to retain Sweet with a contract offer on the table, he seems to be heading over to Port after requesting a trade to help improve their rock stocks. The Eagles seem to have genuine interest in Hawk Tyler Brockman, who seems quite keen on returning back home to his young family in WA. The Hawks may use Brockman in the deal, which could see him getting pick 1 from the West Coast Eagles. Cullen seemed to be the club targeting son Elijah Hollands despite him being contracted in 2024. Clubs believe that the former pick 7 is gettable after only just playing the 14 senior games, as he could be reuniting with his brother Ollie at the Blues. As expected, Brodie Grundy seems to be out of the door after failing to be selected in the back end of the season due to being overlooked by teammate Max Gawn. Sydney seems to be the preferred destination both footy-wise and lifestyle-wise, with Grundy having to not worry about ruck time after the departure of Tom Hickey, who'll be the standalone ruckman at Sydney. However, the D's would still be happy to keep the ruckman if the deal doesn't end up working out, which it most likely will. Xavier could be a player on the out of Port Adelaide after it is apparent that he will request a trade to the Bombers, and this deal could also involve Brandon Thatcher end up at the Power after he declined a 3-year contract from the Bombers. Collingwood seemed to have mole interest in St Kilda's Jack Billings after he was reportedly keen on leaving the Saints, even though he is contracted until 2025. Depending on whether Collingwood believe he's the right fit for the club, or if the Saints allow him to let him go, he could be on the move. After finding it very difficult to gain stability in a stacked Carlton midfield, Paddy Dow has requested a trade to St Kilda for more opportunity. Given that the Saints are in need of boosting the midfield spots, this is almost a certainty for the former pick 3 to head over, who has only managed just the 14 games in 3 years. With the recent discussions of Lockie Schultz heading over to the Pies, there have been speculations that this could force Ginnivan out of the team due to limited opportunities. However, Ginnivan himself has admitted that he is not leaving, and this trade is almost next to no chance of happening unless the Pies themselves push him out. After struggling with consistency through injuries at the Power, Orazio Fantasia or Fantasia could be on the way out after wanting to extend his career and currently out of contract ahead of the 2024 season. After declining a 3-year contract offer from the Bombers, it is apparent that defender Zerk Thatcher wants out of the club, requesting Port Adelaide as his club of choice, with Dodoro again informing the club that he is a required player rather than him stay at the club. Jacob Kaczynski has rejected an offer that was given to him by the Hawks to instead desire a move to head to the Tigers. The Tigers need to fill the void up forward with Jack Rewett retiring, however the Hawks are playing it tough, reportedly chasing a top 25 spot. It is made known that Nick Caulfield wants out of St Kilda in hopes to rejuvenate his career with the Western Bulldogs. The former number 8 pick hasn't played since 2021 due to injury, so a move to the Dogs seems quite likely. Melbourne ruck forward Tom Fullerton has requested a trade to Melbourne and hopes to get a fresh start after limited opportunities in Brisbane, and hopes to be a backup ruckman for Gawn, and with Grundy on his way out, this fits the need for both parties and seems very likely for the deal to be done, particularly given he's out of contract. Thanks everyone for watching the video, and expect the next 2 weeks to be filled with heaps more trade content on the channel. And if you haven't already, before you go, help tick that subscriber amount to over 50% if you've been enjoying these videos.
Don't let me down. Don't let me down.